Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We are going to do a creator request today, which is where a smaller artist or band gets in contact with me and asks me to check out their work. Today we had one come in from MUDSHARK. Says, hey, we're MUDSHARK. We formed just before COVID, starting in 2019. During lockdown, we finished 2 EPs and 1 full-length LP. Currently, there are 3 of us. Since we're fans of your channel and the music you review, we'd like to present you with our project. So, in support of their release of their latest EP, which drops today, actually. You can find it on most streaming services, I think. It's called ZLV. Of course, I'll include all the streaming platform links in the description of this video. We're going to check out a single that dropped today as well, called Eyes of MEDUSA. Let's dive into it and see what's going on. Oh, a little bit of a tempo increase there. Nice harmonies. We've had a few rhythmic changes in the last, 4 bars. Yeah, just ton of energy, forward momentum through this whole track so far. Interesting transition there. Yep, rising intensity. Yeah, really neat idea there. Instead of just hitting the one note, it's a constant hit it, come off it, land on it again. These little half step ideas. A little bit of a rough transition back to this. Yeah, new melody for this final chorus. A little bit of flourish in that vocal line. Interesting. All right. I enjoyed most of that. It's standard fare radio style rock. We have driving guitar lines, catchy melodic hooks in the vocals, uh, traditional ABABCB pattern. Although there was a little bit of a switch up there at the end, and we'll touch on that later. But they kind of surprised me with the structure in the back 20% of this out 20% of the track. It kind of threw me off a little bit in the best kind of way. On the whole, though, I think this is a fairly palatable rock song. They're doing a fantastic job at creating this hard rock style, constantly driving forward momentum, yet still catchy and beautiful melody writing on top of it. The riffs all kind of felt very similar to me. The verse and the chorus were very just constant chugging, usually having some sort of pedal tone, intermediate concept between other notes, like that. You always return back to that pedal note and stick around with it for a little bit. Pretty typical for rock and even some metal is to utilize a pedal tone in your riffage. I did enjoy the bridge idea because we expanded upon this one concept that I just talked about, that hitting the note, half step up, coming back down a half step, hitting the same note we started on. But we expanded it to a full length concept without returning back to a pedal tone. And it worked because if you remove those half note flourishes and you just hit the note that we start and end on, you actually hit most of the key notes in the pentatonic scale they're using, and it creates a bit of a melody within itself. So they took the simple idea and then just put a little bit of flourish on top of it to create the bridge idea. It is very efficient writing. It does what it needs to do with as little work as possible. And as I've always said, writing efficiently is very important to creating music. And this is one of those moments. It works well on its own. It's a strong idea because it has a strong foundation, and it's a neat idea because it has good flourish on it. Just very well crafted right there. And like I said, it borrows from an idea we've already heard before and expands upon it, which is even better because it allows the bridge to be connected to a previous riff in the track. The drums have some really neat ideas in here too, particularly moving from the verse into what I think is the pre-chorus into the pre-chorus. They typically force a halftime feel without actually halftiming their rhythm. I don't know how it's done. I need to go back and really listen to that moment and figure out what's going on. It could be that the guitars shift to a halftime and play notes half or twice as long, half as frequently, um, to kind of move in that direction. But the drums, I feel they lean into this, but they also increase intensity because we get these 16th note bass kick runs in there, like groupings of 4 or 5, something like that. It's a really bizarre moment because it feels like time is stretching in both directions simultaneously, and that physically, I think when I was like bobbing my head to it, I started moving in halftime. And I felt, I was like, yeah, there's halftime feel, we're moving into a big moment, but the drums are playing faster. There's more attacks in there, primarily because of those 16th notes coming in on the bass kick. It's an interesting moment. It's like the song just warping and distorting, sort of like some of the visual imagery here. How most of it was the same picture, but it would get stretched and squashed and stuff. It's kind of what was happening there auditorily. Very interesting concept there. And then we get to the chorus, which is pretty much just straightforward metronome style drumming, chords on the guitars, and great vocal hooks. And that's the majority of our track right there. Uh, Riffs, chords, metronome, vocal hooks. Now, what I did want to talk about that really intrigued me, other than that pre chorus, which was kind of bonkers, the ending. Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. I figured that was the end of the track. but it wasn't. First, I just want to give a quick shout out. Our final chorus here had some melodic alterations to it. The guitars, drums, bass, they all played exactly what they played in every other chorus, but vocally, we had some new melodies here that were primarily based on what we heard, about 80% of what we already knew was going to be in the chorus, but with some different key notes throughout. Little flourishes like hitting a note, dipping down, and coming back to it. Just little ways to change it up. I'm a huge fan of that variation. You've made me listen to this idea twice already. I have a pretty good feel for what you're doing. Change it up on me. Give me a recontextualization of this topic. So I'm glad they did that. But then after it, where I thought we were going to run back into our verse riff or our intro riff and finish the track out, we have another section that borrows a little bit from the bridge and has a brand new, well, vocally it borrows a little bit from the chorus, but it's a different melody. I think it hits the same key notes. I think we're in the same chord progression, and the melodic range is pretty similar, but it's a different melody altogether. And it only lasts for about half as long as the chorus typically goes for. It was almost like a post-chorus that we hadn't heard anywhere else in the track. And that's what surprised me, because we did the chorus twice here at the end. It was the only time we ran through it twice. I think it came out to like 16 bars. And then there was like 2 more bars on the end of that. I was like, where is this coming from? It's a very strange idea when I'm expecting this grouping of 4 and 8, and we end up getting an 18-bar idea, which doesn't divide evenly. It's 2 1/4 chorus lengths. And so I'm like, oh, okay, where are we going with this? And then we go for the extended outro, which takes our intro idea as far as the guitar, bass, and drum ideas go, and we do a couple minor variations on it, like 4 bars at a time. And we kind of move through this transition of ideas that I think gets a little long in the tooth. Uh, it's just my opinion. I'm just one dude on the internet. But I feel like the song could have ended thrice over before it finally did. And I was just like, okay, yep, here's the ending. Nope, okay, now we're putting an extra snare in here. All right, we got an extra snare accent. 4 bars later, okay, this is the ending. We're wrapping this up. Nope, guitar's deciding to do something different now. I don't think any of it really added to what the song was doing. It was just extending the song out. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I liken this kind of stuff to the extended cut of a film, where maybe the scenes don't add too much to the film, but if you're a big fan and you've seen the film a few times, the extended stuff is at least fresh for you, and it adds a little bit of entertainment, even if it doesn't add to the art of the film. And that's kind of what I see here. It's not a bad thing that it's so long, it just doesn't really add to what the song is doing, and given the drive and intensity throughout most of the song, the forward momentum and direction, it's interesting that after 3 minutes of basically gunning it to the end of the track, we decide to meander for a little bit and explore these ideas. I almost wonder if we shouldn't have introduced some of those concepts earlier, though I also understand this is a single, although it's also, you've released 3 singles off the EP already, and there's only 5 on it, so yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is I probably wouldn't have done that without introducing it earlier in the track, but that is from a completely music art oriented direction, and sometimes you can't take that when you're making a single because you have different priorities in mind. Maybe you didn't know Eyes of Medusa was going to be a single when you made it too. So, like, I don't know. There's a lot of directions to take this. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's bad. It just feels antithetical to what the rest of the track had done up to that point. Um, yeah, though, solid track. Fantastic vocals, great guitar and bass work, nice drumming. Everything is just really well produced. It's a solid hard rock track. Let's hit some lyrics. I'll be honest, I don't have a strong read on this. The chorus and the verse seem to be talking about 2 completely different things to me. I'm having difficulty making connections to them. We open up with something that is quite vague in context. It could really be relating to anything. It says, I said you wouldn't believe me, but they dragged you to the floor, made you plead in silence. Forevermore we are afraid to know. So I lie awake at night and I dream of your face, haunts my fears, disgraced and all alone. So we have somebody who didn't believe the narrator and is now pleading for something, being surrounded by several prosecutors, possibly. Dragged to the floor, it says, made to plead in silence. And now I lie awake at night, dreaming of your face. So presumably they're dead. And they were pleading for their life. Makes me think of some sort of historic courtroom before there was just trials. But our second verse showcases who the judge might be. It says, you couldn't conceal it when she ripped your heart in two. So put the pieces back together there, just like new. Now meditate on that, still our thoughts afraid, as I dream of your face, fleeting years displaced in this unknown. So there's still a separation between our narrator and who they're speaking to, but it seems like it's a heartbreak song, just not about the narrator. They are the shoulder to cry on for their friend. Now those two sort of make sense together, but let me bring in the chorus here. It says, show me the way, a dreadful remedy, brain dead like Kennedy, freeze my veins, a fatal enemy can only turn me to stone. First of all, brain dead like Kennedy is that is a statement right there. That is lyrics that I don't know that I ever thought I would read somewhere. But I don't understand how this relates to anything else. Yeah, I keep rereading it. I don't know. The bridge just says, if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. Which the idea of the eyes of Medusa, if you stare at them, you'll turn to stone. Like, I kind of see where some of the imagery comes from, right? A fatal enemy can only turn me to stone. Um, but, like, I'm not getting the bigger picture. And I'm gonna leave that one on me, because I'm not a poetic analyst. I'm a music dude, and I dabble trying to dissect lyrics. So, for the most part, though, I do believe these are just lyrics written in isolation against the music. I don't see any themes that might combine the two, and the music just being pretty straightforward hard rock. I mean, that's kind of the style for the music. Or for the genre. It's not really one that pairs musical themes with lyrical themes generally, anyways. So I don't think even with a better understanding of what the lyrics are accomplishing, that I would find any sort of depth to that combination there. With that said, I quite enjoyed this track, and I'll definitely be checking out the rest of the EP. But what did y'all think? Those are my thoughts on MUDSHARK's Eyes of Medusa. Let me know your opinions, comments, perspectives, anything else. Leave them in the comment section. Above that, in the description box. Normally I would put my links in there. Instead, we're going to put MUDSHARK's links. You're going to find their streaming platforms, their social medias, their websites, merch. Anything I can find, I'll toss in there. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And be sure to head over to their websites. Like, subscribe, favorite, heart, star, whatever. Show them some love if you enjoy what they're doing. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.